Astronomers have discovered the most distant body ever observed in our solar system. The tiny object designated 2018 VG18 and nicknamed Far Out was discovered some 120 astronomical units out from the Sun, placing it right near the heliopause, the outer boundary of the Sun's tenuous atmosphere called the heliosphere. An astronomical unit is the average distance between the Earth and the Sun, about 150 million kilometres or 8.3 light minutes. 2018 VG18 was discovered using the 8-metre Subaru telescope atop of Mauna Kea in Hawaii. It was spotted by Carnegie University's Scott Shepard, David Tholen from the University of Hawaii, and Chad Trujillo from North Arizona University as part of their ongoing search for the long-suspected Planet X. Follow-up observations using the Magellan telescope in Chile suggest that VG18's brightness means it's probably about 500 kilometres wide, large enough to be self-gravitating, in other words, spherical in shape. It has a pinkish hue, a colour generally associated with ice-rich objects. Because VG18 is so distant, it would be orbiting the Sun very slowly, taking more than 1,000 Earth years to complete one trip around the Sun. VG18 is the first solar system object to be detected at a distance more than 100 times further from the Sun than the Earth. The new record holder beats the dwarf planet Eris, which at around 96 astronomical units now moves down to second place. By comparison, our old friend Pluto is currently about 34 astronomical units out from the Sun. That makes VG18 more than 3.5 times further away than the solar system's most famous dwarf planet. Back in October, the same group of researchers announced the discovery of another distant solar system object called 2015 TG387 and nicknamed the Goblin. That's because it was first seen near Halloween. The Goblin was discovered at about 80 astronomical units and has an orbit which is consistent with it being influenced by an unseen super-Earth-sized planet, a so-called Planet X, lurking on the solar system's dark, distant outer fringes. The possible existence of a ninth major planet at the edge of our solar system was first proposed by the same team of astronomers back in 2014 when they discovered 2012 VP113, nicknamed Biden, which is currently around 84 astronomical units out from the Sun. 2015 TG387 and 2012 VP113 never get close enough to the solar system's giant planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, to have any significant gravitational interactions with them. That means that these extremely distant objects can act as probes for what's happening in the solar system's outer reaches. The team has not yet fully determined VG18's orbit, and so they've not been able to determine whether it's being influenced by a mysterious Planet X. Shepard says VG18 is much more distant and slower moving than any other observed solar system object, and so it will take a few more years to fully determine its orbit. But the thing is, it was found in a similar location on the sky to the other known extreme solar system objects, suggesting it might have the same type of orbit as most of them do. The orbital similarities shown by many of the known smaller distant solar system bodies was the catalyst for the team's original assertion that there must be a distant massive planet out there at several hundred astronomical units, which is shepherding these smaller objects. This yet-to-be-discovered Planet X would be about 4 times the size and around 9 times the mass of the Earth, and most likely on an elongated orbit around the Sun, estimated to take at least 15,000 Earth years to complete one orbit. If it exists, the mysterious Planet X could be an interstellar rogue planet captured by the Sun's gravitational pull. Another possibility is that it was stolen by the Sun's gravity from another star system. And there are also several models of planetary migration within our early solar system which suggest that as Jupiter and Saturn migrated out to their current orbits, their gravitational perturbations caused Neptune and Uranus to also move outwards, in the process swapping orbital positions and flinging a third ice giant either out into the Kuiper Belt or beyond into interstellar space. I'm Stuart Gary. You're listening to SpaceTime. With no apparent hazards in its way, NASA's New Horizons spacecraft's been given the all-clear to stay on its current course to intercept its next target, the distant Kuiper Belt object 2014 MU69 Ultima Thule. The historic close flyby will take place on January the 1st, some 1.6 billion kilometres beyond Pluto, the most distant planetary flyby so far undertaken in human history. After almost 3 weeks of sensitive searches for rings, small moons and other potential hazards around the object, New Horizons principal investigator Alan Stern gave the go-ahead for the spacecraft to remain on its current trajectory, taking it to within 3,500 kilometres of Ultima Thule. The alternative would have been a hazard-avoiding detour, which would have pushed it some 3 times further out. The thing is, with New Horizons blazing through space at some 50,700 kilometres per hour, even a particle as small as a grain of rice would have been lethal to the piano-sized probe. The dozen-member New Horizons Hazard Watch team has been using the spacecraft's most powerful telescopic camera, the Long Range Reconnaissance Imager, or LORRI, to look for potential hazards. The decision on whether to keep New Horizons on its original course or to divert it to a more distant flyby which would have produced less detailed data had to be made this week, as it was the last opportunity to maneuver the spacecraft into another trajectory. New Horizons formed its Hazard Watch team back in 2011 to prepare for its Pluto flyby, addressing concerns that Pluto's newly discovered small moons could be spreading dangerous debris across New Horizons' flight path. An intense search turned up no potential mission-ending risks, the team opting for the original flight path and New Horizons safely carrying out its historic first-ever exploration of the Pluto system in July 2015. This year, the Hazard Watch team have been conducting similar analyses on the approach to Ultima Thule. The spacecraft's now targeted for the optimal flyby, some 3 times closer than the flight over Pluto. New Horizons will make its historic close approach to Ultima Thule at 12:33 in the morning US Eastern Standard Time on January the 1st. That's 16:33 in the afternoon Australian Eastern Daylight Time and 5:33 in the morning Greenwich Mean Time. New Horizons was launched on January the 19th, 2006 from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida aboard an Atlas V rocket. The probe made history on July the 14th, 2015, when it became the first spacecraft to visit Pluto, flying just 12,500 kilometres above the 2,377-kilometre wide dwarf planet's surface. The spacecraft also studied Pluto's binary partner Charon and their 4 moons, Styx, Nix, Kerberos and Hydra. Pluto is one of the largest known bodies in the Kuiper Belt, a ring of frozen worlds, comets and icy debris circling the Sun out beyond the orbit of Neptune.